kids. Fuck the kids? Yeah.
You have just tuned in to the Mag Nerd Podcast, your home for everything in music, anime, and gaming. What is up, guys? Showing up the King here, back with another video, and today I'm bringing you my review for Redo of the Healer. This is a new anime that is being shown on HDive. It is supposed to be very raunchy, very controversial. So of course, you know, your boy had to go ahead and talk about it and review it. So that's what I'm going to do. So honestly, this is the first anime review that I've done since Darling and the Franxx, I believe. I mean, it's been a minute since I bought an anime review for you guys. But I'm here, so this is how this is going to work, all right? So Redo of Healer has multiple versions. So they have the censored version, which is on HDive, but then they also have an uncensored version that is not on HDive that I know of, but you can find it. I'm not going to give the address to where you can find it, but again, anybody that's a super sleuth, you can find that. So what I will be doing is reviewing the uncensored versions, and then what I'll do is once I review the uncensored version, I'll then go back and tell you guys what the differences were from the manga to the actual anime. Because again, I am current in the manga. I believe it's up to like 30 chapters or something like that. Give or take a couple of redo episodes or redo mangas. So there's that. So Redo of Healer. So essentially the first episode, I actually thought it was pretty good. I didn't think, I know there was a lot of people that were kind of disappointed in it because, again, there was a lot of controversy about this show. And I felt like with shows like Goblin Slayer, you could tell pretty much in Goblin Slayer from like the first 5 minutes that Goblin Slayer was there to be controversial and was there to get the attention of people, and it did. Whereas I think with the Redo of Healer, with the exception of the whole maid scene at the end, I think that was probably the only real controversial thing, and that wasn't really controversial if you watch the censored version. And one thing that I will suggest is that nobody watch the censored version because, again, to me, it's going to ruin the entire aesthetic of the show by watching the way that they censored it was just stupid. I hated it. Do not watch the censored version of this if you can help it, all right? Now, overall, like I said before, I enjoy the episode. Just a quick synopsis. Redo a Healer is a story of a guy who is it's almost like an isekai versus like revenge story. The main hero, he was tortured by the actual heroes and forced to do their bidding by, you know, healing them and just taking care of them while at the same time also just being tortured by these healers. And there's the canon hero, there's the sword hero, there's the magic hero. So those are the main three heroes that you can see here on the poster advertisement that I have here on the side. Now, what ends up happening is at the very beginning of the episode, we have the healer who tricks them, and then he goes back in time to redo his life so that he can get his and take his revenge on the other hero. So that's just pretty much a brief synopsis of the actual episode itself. So what I really want to do is I want to kind of just talk about the anime and manga differences because as I go through there, I don't want to have to kind of repeat myself twice. So let's just do it that way. So as far as the beginning of the episode is concerned, for the most part, they actually, and I have a couple of notes here that I jotted down. For the most part, they actually stayed true to the actual manga. With the exception of a few things that are actually kind of big if you talk about them in a context. Smaller things like at the very beginning when they're fighting the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord started off as the sexy hot girl demon, but in the actual manga, it started off at the grotesque like monster-sized demon, and you couldn't even see that there was a girl inside of his body. You just saw like a giant demon-sized thing that was fighting the heroes. And you couldn't actually see the girl until after the healing hero kind of, you know, used the corruption heal, which is like a one hit KO. And then, you know, you kind of burst out and you just see this beautiful woman. And of course, she's naked in the manga. So that is very different from what they did in the actual anime. The other thing that they did that was very much different was there was just a lot more gore. So in the actual beginning of that scene, once the healing hero kind of turns on his team and goes to fight the demon lord's little spawn go out and end up killing all those heroes except the magic hero. And you could see like the sword hero was like laying out on the field with her chest ripped open. You could see her ribs and her guts hanging out. And the cannon hero, he was like completely dead, like head sliced off in half. You can kind of just see it laying there. So again, the the actual damage being done was on a high level that even in the uncensored version of the actual episode you don't see that kind of destruction, but you did see it in the manga. So I thought that was worth mentioning. Also, one of the things that they did not mention was also kind of when the healer hero was having flashbacks of the torture that they were giving to him. They didn't show that the canon hero was actually raping him. Like, so the drugs that they were giving him, it actually made him docile and made him into a drug addict. So that basically, it would, if he needed that drug in order to survive, it was kind of like crack. So basically, what they would do, they would force him to heal in order to give him that medicine. But during that entire time, they were sexually assaulting him, treating him like a dog, and just basically torturing the shit out of this guy. So I think it was important that they should have introduced that in the actual anime, or at the very least in the uncensored version. And they touched on it just a tad bit, but not enough, just so that you can kind of understand that guy's mindset as to why he's going to do to these guys what he ends up doing to them. Because again, I know you guys thought this episode was tame, but I can guarantee you next week's episode, episode 2, then you'll start to see the controversy about this show is all about. Because that I can promise you is going to be kind of brutal. Also, one of the things that I wanted to touch on also was once he actually does the heal and goes back in time, they don't the anime doesn't really focus a lot on his stat window. So once he gets that eye of seeing that lets him see everything, essentially that's what turns it into like that video game isekai kind of situation where that eye that he has lets him see everything. Like it lets him see the hero stats, so you could see that the sword hero is like level 45, or like the magic hero is like level 55. You can kind of see all their stats and their HP, their MP, what special abilities they have, and you get a lot of his inner monologues where he's talking about how he plans on doing these things, and he gotta wait because this person's too strong, things of that nature. And I really wish that they kind of conveyed that, because again, it would almost help them pad out the episodes. But again, they don't really touch base on it a lot. So I definitely think that's something that they could have done and they should do in the future. Now, let's talk about the big uncensored scene. So the big uncensored scene of this episode was the sex with the maid. Now, I have to say, in the uncensored version, it was actually pretty damn good. I mean, the boob physics, the sex, like, even right down to the maid like taking off her underwear and kind of like sliding her drawers to the side so she can kind of like sit on a little on the glizzy. It was actually pretty cool. I give them props for that. They actually went through and showed everything. Now, one thing that they did not mention is that the maid was actually a very high level warrior as well. So it wasn't just a maid; it was actually a warrior, and the warrior wanted to get. They kind of touched on it, but they didn't really explain the way that they did in the manga that when a person has sex with a hero, it has to be a hero. It couldn't just be some regular person. When you have sex with a hero and you take in their glizzy juice, you gain experience and you get stronger. You can break your shell and go to the next level. That's why she decided to go in there and rape him. Now, one thing that another thing that they did differently in the manga that they didn't do in the anime is that in the anime it looks like the healer hero, he was more susceptible to her advances, whereas in the manga you can clearly tell that this was rape on the side that she was raping him, because again he tried to stop her multiple times, but she kind of just took the glizzy for herself, and then he decided during that process that he's going to use his heal ability to steal some of her XP, steal some of her XP to make him stronger. So in the manga, he just kept sleeping with her for the entire week. Where they in the anime, he made it so that he was sleeping with all the different maids. Now again, they could have been doing that maybe in the light novel or in the manga, but from what I saw in the manga, he only slept with that maid, and it was kind of like a quick scene that's showing them fucking throughout the entire week. Versus him in the anime, he was screwing all the different maids throughout the week. So that was kind of the thing there. Now, the only other thing that they mentioned is that would probably be noticeable was that once the sword chick shows up, the one that lost her arm, that all pretty much was the same. Only small difference was is that when she got undressed to get herself healed, she kind of just had on a breastplate, and when she took the breastplate off, you can kind of see the jumblies. And again, that was about it. So overall, like I said, I think the first episode was solid. If I had to rate it out of a 5, I'd give it a solid 3.5. Again, there's still a lot of room to grow. I want to see this show thrive, and I want them to adapt it properly. Again, the only things that I really had a problem with is that I really wish they would have focused a little bit more on his stat window ability, because that is a huge role in the things that are going to come later on in episode 2 and beyond. So I hope that they do decide to go back and start showing that stat window stuff, because again, it's very interesting to kind of see how he strategizes, how he's going to take out these other heroes by being able to see their stats and see what they can do. But again, let me know what you guys think. What did you think of the first episode? Were you able to watch the uncensored version, or did you just watch the censored version? Let me know in the comment section below. Again, do you guys like this format? Do you want to see me keep doing these reviews? Again, let me know in the comment section below. Thumbs up the video, hit bell notifications. This is Showing Up the King. Have a good one. Peace.